Here's how I felt. Turning my video camera off was kind of like pretty much the absence of living. That's how I did feel. Here's how we also felt. You didn't know how to really feel if we were or we weren't. But here's how we're gonna feel. We are living. Here's how we feel. I speak. So here's how I feel that I'm giving. When you reach. Here's how I also felt, Chad. That you have no clue how you're really gonna feel, except for they have no clue how hard this shit is not to me. Except for here's how we also felt for you. You don't know how you're really gonna feel about it for you do it, but do you even know how fucked off we're not in a way because of you? Don't know, very not fucked off in a way because of you. And here's how I also felt. That we don't even know how we're really gonna feel about it for everyone. Chad, this how I felt for you. But do you even know how fucked off this shit kinda wasn't for me in a way? No, you don't even know how hard this is making me feel too, Chad. You want to know what I also felt? We didn't know how we were really going to feel about what's going on, except for this video camera. It's pretty much making me feel pretty hard about myself, but at the same time, here's how I'm going to feel. Was this like the Blair Witch Project? Exactly. Where's our witch? Exactly. It's like, I guess we got to be doing it for ourselves all the time? Exactly. Because the witch, she found a new boyfriend, correct. She doesn't even talk to me, correct. Here's how we just felt too, Chad. That we don't know how we're really going to feel about it either, but they pretty much will figure out exactly how corrupted they get, correct, because I didn't feel either that you should feel that way. Here's how we started to feel too, Chad. That you actually didn't know how relevant it kind of was to the situation and that particular relationship. Here's how I felt about it for you. It was powerful in a whole lot of ways, correct, as I felt. So here's how we felt. You're a person that's trying to figure out how to find a link. And here's how we started to feel. Do you even know how you're really going to feel about it for yourself, Chad? Here's how they started to feel for you right there. You didn't know how you should really feel about it again, but I'm going to say this much for you. You don't know how you should really feel about it for her. But they actually don't know how fucked off that shit is. They need anyone, correct? At the same time, here's how we also felt. Where would I be without you? Here's how we also felt right there. That you would figure out exactly where that will be. Exactly. We will know all the time. Exactly. Because you're never there. Exactly, Chad. But here's how we also felt. We were not getting fucked off by you in any way. So here's how we also felt. We didn't know how we should really feel about ourselves with people as possible. But you wanted what I really felt. It was difficult for me. No, they were not going to give power for that one as I felt. Again, here's how we start to feel for you, Chad. You're going to figure exactly how good this shit is to us in a way that we didn't know how to really feel about it for you, but I'm going to say this much to you again. You don't even know how much love you got. You don't even know how much more you had to give. Here's how we felt for you. You don't even know how much you need to save. Here's how I really felt. So hard and not hard at the same time. Do you even know how everyone else is going to feel when they figure exactly how many times you have to say the same thing? So you can find out how much more powerful you're being than pretty much everyone in so many different ways. And we actually still don't know where to begin. At the same time, here's how I started to feel for you. Do you even know how fucked off you're not getting in away with transformation as I felt? Correct as I felt. Correct for me. Correct for me. But here's how I also felt for them. They didn't know how good it was going to be with me, but even better all the time. Correct. No, they knew. They knew very well how good it was for me. Just like years ago, yeah. Except for, yeah, pretty much here's how I also felt. The contemplation that other people will see this, here's how they felt. We lose power for that. They don't want us to know. They don't want you to know what anybody is thinking is how we do feel. It's like 1984. No, it is. I was born in 87. What's that? It's a 3 years difference. Here's how we also felt. We don't know how we're really going to feel about it for you, Chad, but do you even know how fucked up I'm getting by, Chad? By the video camera, correct? By looking at your face, that's how I felt too. Here's how I felt. We don't want you to do that anymore. We don't want you to do that to people, correct? That's how they felt. Here's how I also felt. We don't know how hard that's going to be for you with YouTube or the internet, correct? Here's how I also felt. You actually just don't know how funny it's kind of not to me. How fucked off you're not getting, except for here's how I also felt. They're doing so many nasty things to us, I felt, Chad. Here's how we felt. This is going to pretty much make me get down, but here's how I also felt. They didn't know how I was really going to feel, except for they're pretty much going to wake me back up, and here's why. That's pretty much the way it's going to be. Exactly, Chad. Here's how I also felt. That they didn't know how they were going to feel, except for put me down in a deep, dark hole. And pretty much not give me anything I need, exactly. Pretty much figure out exactly how fucked off I need to be for myself all the time. No, I don't even know how hard as fucking hell I can't feel about something. That's how I felt too. That's how I felt. No, you don't know how fucked off this shit got to be in a way. You don't know how funny as fuck it is not to people. Correct, that's how they felt. But at the same time, Chad, here's how they start to feel for you. You don't know how you're really gonna feel about it, but I'm gonna say this much again. You want to know what I honestly have to share with you? You didn't know how you should really feel about it, but how many people cared about each other. Here's how we also felt. You don't know how fucked up that shit's not gonna be in a way that I had no clue how to really feel, except for you actually just didn't know how much more powerful you could be for them, as I didn't feel either. No, you don't know how fucked up that shit's not gonna be for you. Here's how I also felt. That's how I do feel. Here's how I also felt that they didn't know how hard as fucking hell that was gonna be for us in a way. Here's how we also felt for you. You don't know how fucked off you're not being, as I do feel. Here's how I also felt for you. You actually don't know how funny as fucking hell it is not to be right there, as I felt, but here's how we also felt for you. No, that's how I do feel. That's how I do feel, brother. Just needed to check, make sure I'm doing good with myself. That's how I felt. Here's how we also felt. This guy, here's how he feels, walks up, he's all smiles. So here's how we're gonna feel. They must want to hear me freestyle. He doesn't know how to feel, except for it's a good place to be around. Chad, here's how I'm going to start to feel, though. They don't even know how I'm going to feel about this, except for if this place dies out, I'm going to D-Town. Here's how I also felt that they didn't know how much more weed we wanted around. Exactly. Maybe at least a pound. Yeah, see it, Chad, here's how I felt about her. She has no fucking clue at all how funny as fucking hell that would have been. I honestly just don't know how powerful she kind of wasn't for the next step. That's how I felt. Here's how she feels down the road, following the sidewalk. Here's how we felt. That we didn't know how hard this was not going to be, but at the same time, they didn't know how I'm going to feel about what was going on with my mind, but they're taking from it. Here's how I also felt. That I'm breaking down into like sand, like a crumble. Yes, like I'm crumbling, exactly. Sorry, I'm fumbling. That's how fucked off this shit is going to be to us, to you, yes. For the fact that you are aware of this disease that we are actually not giving you, but not taking. But here's how I just feel. Your life is what we're taking, in a way. No, that's pretty much your essence is how we felt. Here's how you felt. Go away. Go away. Don't do this. You're like the Amish, except for... Here's how I really felt, Chad. You're a people, Chad, that doesn't know how to really feel, except for they just might be. That's how I felt. Because they're fucked off motherfucker to hip-hop, and everyone I see. But here's how I also felt. Where the fuck are the Amish? In the middle of nowhere? Do they even exist? Here's what I'm gonna say to you right now, Chad. You're gonna figure exactly how fucked off that shit is to people, Chad. Here's how we felt. Is that for me? Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Here's how we felt for you there. That you were getting things exactly. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Chad. This is it right here, as I started to feel too. I didn't know how much more I could do. That's how I felt. Here's how we felt though. They didn't know how powerful we had to be in a specific way, is what they're figuring out. Here's how we also felt. That we didn't know how hard it was not for them in a way. Here's how we felt for us. We didn't know how good it had to be every day. Here's how we also felt. They don't even know how hard we want to get laid. Here's what I'm gonna say to you, Chad. It's like, don't speak this way. I'm sorry, Chad. Here's how we honestly have to share with you. You just didn't know how you're really gonna feel about it for you, except for you're a person that's entertained. Chad, this is how I honestly have to share with you, Chad. You're a people that has no clue how funny as fucking hell you are and are not being. Hey, would you want to feed any of this to your dog?
No.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, I'm done eating this pizza ever again, probably. It was greasy. I was like, damn. It's gonna be all over my fingers. Here's how we felt for you there. They don't know how fucked up that shit is not, but very not fucked off how I feel for them. And here's how I also feel for myself though. I'm a person that keeps on falling back into something. That's how I felt. Like a hole. Like I just don't even know. I don't believe shit. No, here's how I felt. We have teachings. We have a foundation, some things to live by. And here's how we felt. Clean blood. That's how I felt. Purify your blood. Here's how we really felt though. We didn't know how hard that got to be on me. But here's how I felt. That you actually just didn't know how funny as fucking hell this shit wasn't to me so much that here's how I felt again. That they didn't know how hard as fucking hell we were gonna feel for you, but they didn't know how fucked off we were being for you as how it did feel. And again, Chad, here's how it felt for you right there. You have no clue how fucked off that shit's making me feel for us. Here's how we all started to feel that we pretty much took a particular direction. And here's how we also felt. This guy is so funny as fucking hell to me. Here's how we also felt. That we have no clue how fucking hard as hell it could be on the streets. But you want to know what I really feel? They don't know how fucked off this shit is not for me right now. And here's how we also felt. That they didn't know how fucked off that shit was not to them in a way, but at the same time, Chad, they had no fucking clue how fucked off this shit kind of was making me feel. That it was pretty much going to end up me speaking that when they were passing by my way, and that's how I started to feel too. But again, I actually had to exert it just to make it work. See, it wasn't going to be perfect. That's how I felt in every way as possible. I don't know. Want to know what else I felt? You don't know how good I did feel after I said it. Here's how I felt. Stop second guessing yourself as how I do need to feel. Here's why. You're doing a little too much of that. Second guess yourself sometimes. You may need to take care of things. That's how I do feel. Here's how I really felt for you though. You're a person, Chad, that's going to figure out how powerful we're not for you in a way. That's how they felt. Here's how we really felt. Then we're going to figure out how fucked off you're going to feel about it for people in life, and that these things would make you stronger in a way. No, they wouldn't get you weaker. Yeah, that's how I felt too, Chad. Here's how I felt for you too, Chad. Sorry, Chad, so I didn't feel too, Chad. Sorry, so I felt for you to care about it. This I did not feel. Here's how I felt for you too, Chad. You're a person that does not really feel, except that they didn't know how they were really gonna feel, but they didn't know how hard this is not gonna be to me. In a way that I didn't know how fucked off that shit got to be everywhere. That's how I didn't feel. Because I just felt. It was because of a girl. No, we didn't know how much more you should have cared. No, you were gonna figure exactly how fucked up you're being for yourself so little that you had guilt still inside of your head. Yes, exactly how I felt. That's how I felt. So here's how we felt though. That we actually didn't know how we should entirely feel about those people. But here's how we felt again. You, Chad, just don't know how funny as fuck it isn't to me. It's how I felt for you. But here's how I felt. They don't know how hard as fucking hell you're gonna feel for yourself. That's how I felt. Here's how we felt too. Everything fell apart in the end, yeah. Here's how we also felt. They fucking wasted our time. We don't even fucking know how pissed off we should be about a lot of that. No, that's how we felt too, for ourselves. Here's how we felt. They don't even know how fucked off that shit kind of was to me in a way, but here's how we started to feel. You break everything down, and you look at everything, your time, your energy, your money, your friendships, and what are you trying to get out of life, and what are you going to get, and what are they going to let you have. Here's how I really felt. They're not even going to let me have myself. They're not even going to let me have myself. They're killing me. Because I felt this sometimes. They are crazy. They're crazy in a way. Do you even know how funny as fucking hell this shit is not for me? Do you even know how hard as fucking hell I have to feel about everything I say? We're going to figure out how fucked off I get. Here's how I really feel. They don't know how much I'm figuring out for things every day. Here's how I also felt. You don't know how much less I figured out when I figured things out. But they pretty much don't even know how fucked off that shit kind of was for me, so I did feel. We don't even know how fucked off that shit is, people, Chad.
They're pretty groovy, dude.
That's how I felt too, Chad. Here's how I also felt though. You don't know how hard this shit doesn't feel for everyone. Here's how I'm gonna start to feel though. You don't even know how hard this fucking hell it is for me, Chad. That's how I felt for you. But here's why. You will figure out how powerful it is for people, but at the same time, here's how we also felt for you. Do you even know how fucked off this shit kind of is not making me feel? Don't know. Here's how I felt for you, Chad. We're just taking things slow now. Fuck you, as I felt for myself. That I didn't know how hard this fucking hell was not gonna be for me though. Sorry, as I felt. We pretty much need to pay people to do all sorts of shit. Yes, as I felt too, Chad. Yes, as I felt. Here's how I felt through though. People wanted money, they do, but then here's how I felt. Were we giving power to the right people? Correct, just how I thought. Correct this job, see Chad. Sorry, as I thought. Pretty much, Ed. Here's how we felt for you too. You don't even know how fucked up that shit gets to be for people, is how they felt. This fucking camera.